What are you doing?
The payload's about to be delivered.
Payload? Tell me you didn't. You son of a bitch.
What's going on, comic friends? It's Ryan the Colossus Collector, and thank you once again for stopping by my channel. So in this video, I am going to show off a mega payload of comics that just got delivered to my collection this past week. And man, it's a haul like I haven't had in a long time. Banger keys, high grade stuff, awesome Silver Age, Bronze Age. Oh, it's awesome. It's gonna blow your mind, I hope. It might not blow your mind, but you'll probably love it, because if you love comics, you're in the right place. I've got some awesome stuff to show off. This is a combination of stuff that I've gotten from a few places. First off, shout out to my good friend, my fellow Canadian, Comic Aussie. He sells on Whatnot. You can find him also on Instagram and YouTube under the same moniker, Comic Aussie. He had his, I believe it was his 10K sale on Whatnot, and it was a banger of a sale. Tons of big books, tons of keys, and I was there for it and buying up some awesome stuff. He gave me incredible deals on some great books. I'm so stoked that I got all of them. I even messaged him after the sale and told him how pumped I was to get these books. Really, like, just super excited. I also got a couple things that I got from my friend Dave from West Coast Avengers, and a few books that I got hunting at a local hotel ballroom show here in my hometown just this past Sunday. And yeah, I was excited to get all this stuff, and even more excited to now share it with you guys. So let's jump into the books now. So this first book I wanted to show you is not a comic book. It's a little magazine, or a zine, as Dave from West Coast, the Avengers, called it. It's called The Many Faces of Jack Kirby, and it's just a small little collection of Jack Kirby art from his career as a comic book artist. And mostly faces, which is was such an iconic, unique way or element of what he drew. A Jack Kirby face was recognizable in whatever publication he drew for, or whatever publisher he drew for. You knew it was a Jack Kirby face when you saw it. And yeah, these pages inside are just chock full of really cool Jack Kirby art. And Dave's selling these books, as well as a second book that I believe is called The Many More Faces of Jack Kirby, for a pretty affordable price. I think it's like 20-something bucks. And it's just a cool little piece, little coffee table, magazine, whatever wherever you want to put it, it fits nicely. And I just wanted to kind of show some love to Dave's initiative with this, and say how excited I am to have it. It's a really cool little piece. I love Jack Kirby, and I want to support Dave as well. So check out Dave on Instagram, on YouTube, and I think there's a URL to buy these or pre-order these. So I'm going to pop that in below right here so that you could see it as well. and check out Dave's Jack Kirby magazines. Alright, now we're going to get into all the comics that I got, starting off with a little mini-series that I picked up from Dave. This is the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine mini-series. This is a story by Chris Claremont, artwork by Al Milgrom, and this tells a story that basically really changes and catapults the character of Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, into popularity and just gives her a lot more depth, a lot more backstory. Creates a really good relationship with Wolverine and how Wolverine becomes her mentor and her protector. And it's just a really fun read, a fun story. And Dave was selling this in one of his sales, and he when I got it, I was just like super impressed with the condition of the books. They are minty, and I just love the art and the way the covers were designed to always have this kind of divide down the middle throughout the whole series. Really cool, and excited to get this mini-series. Again, all things X-Men I try to pick up, and I hadn't picked this one up yet, and to get it in such great condition is really exciting. So thank you to Dave for that, and excited to have this in the PC. So this next book, I sort of kind of been hesitant to get it. It's never really super appealed to me because I'm a Marvel guy. I'm not a big DC guy. I'm not a big crossover guy either. But at the end of the day, I'm an X-Men guy. Every X-Men collector should really have this book. It's a popular book. People love it. I got it now. It's the Uncanny X-Men and the New Teen Titans. And this is just an awesome Chris Claremont story. Walt Simonson and Terry Austin on the artwork. It's essentially a Marvel book. I mean, Jim Shooter was the editor on it, and it's got the whole Marvel team. So really, it's more of a Marvel book. And yeah, I'm trying to get over the whole like Marvel over DC thing. It's a slow process for me, but I'll get there. There are some DC books that are appealing to me more and more as I see them. So one of these days, I'm gonna get into a few of those books, but it's just not a top priority right now. But glad to pick this one up. It was a great price, and I mean it's an awesome condition book as well. It's in really great condition. So super excited. Distributed by the Marvel Entertainment Group. So it is a Marvel book. This next book is another staple every X-Men collector should have. I can't believe it's taken me this long to get it. I've always loved it. I may actually have a copy of it, but it's beat up. So I think I might have put it out of my memory. I don't think I have it, but maybe I have it. Anyways, I definitely have it now. It's Classic X-Men #1, and this amazing cover is by the legendary Arthur Adams, who did many of the covers in the Classic X-Men run. I've not been a big Classic X-Men collector. I just feel like it's a little redundant, but it is X-Men, and all the covers are generally different from the counterparts, the original Uncanny books that came out. So maybe one day I'll dive into that run. But this book I've always wanted because I absolutely love this cover. This is also basically a reprint of Giant Size X-Men, and it's got the original Dave Cockrum art, the Len Wein story from GSX1. But this cover, man, I love this cover. Arthur Adams killed it. What an awesome first issue for this run, and it's in great condition. The whites really are sharp on this cover. And excited to have this one as well. Another one I recently got from Dave. This is Uncanny X-Men 244. This is the first appearance of Jubilee. I have a couple issues or a couple copies of this book, but I think this is now my highest grade copy. This is like a 9.4-ish, 9.6 copy of this book. Chris Claremont, obviously on writing duty. Mark Silvestri and Dan Green on art. Mark Silvestri, so in my opinion, underrated as an X-Men artist, and really excited to get a nice high-grade copy of this book, this first appearance of Jubilee, who is admittedly not my favorite X-Men character, but I still want her first appearance in high grade, so glad to grab this one up and add it to the PC. So this one, I just found this digging in a box at that local show I mentioned. This is the Mighty Thor 339, and this is the first appearance of Stormbreaker, the weapon that Thor wields in the Infinity Saga, or the Infinity War and Endgame. It's also the third appearance of Beta Ray Bill, and it's written, penciled and inked by the legendary Walt Simonson, a man I had the pleasure of having breakfast with at Terrificon this past summer. Such an awesome man, and really, really cool to pull this out of a box. It was priced really well, and then on top of it, there was a monster discount on it, and it's in like minty condition. So I'm really excited to grab this. There's just something special about going to a show or an LCS and digging through a box and just finding like a real gem for an incredible price. And I can see why people like my buddy Mike from Lunch Money Comics gets addicted to the hunt, because it is invigorating. So I was really happy to pull this out, and maybe I got to do a little more hunting as opposed to buying online. We'll see how the future goes with that, but definitely excited to grab this and find this at a local con. Okay, so now we're going to get into all the books I got from my buddy Comic Aussie during his 10K show. This is a hell of a run of books. Starting with this first one, this is Amazing Spider-Man 120. Now, this isn't necessarily a big key or anything, but it is a pretty well-known, dare I say, iconic John Romita cover where he's battling the Incredible Hulk. The story is written by Jerry Conway, Gil Kane, and Paul Ryman on the art, as well as John Romita inking on the interior. This was really well priced. People didn't jump on it, so I decided to. I'm not a big ASM guy or anything, but if you can get good ASM covers in good condition for great prices, you jump on that all day long. So happy to jump on this one and pull this into my PC. This book I've absolutely loved for so long. I'm such a fan of this book in particular, but the artist, Jim Steranko. This is Captain America 110, and this is not only art by Jim Steranko, it's also written by Jim Steranko. It's the first appearance of Madam Hydra, aka Viper. It's also the first appearance of Rick Jones as the fourth Bucky. But yeah, more than anything, this is just iconic Jim Steranko artwork. I just love this book. I've always wanted it. It's just never really made its way to me, and I was so pumped to get this in the sale and buy it. It's in pretty nice mid-grade condition, and just really happy to add a iconic Jim Steranko book into my collection. This next book I didn't even pay for. I actually won it. Ozzy was doing, he basically had a highest spender giveaway, and I happen to be the highest spender in this sale, and as you will see from the books that come after this one. But man, what an awesome prize to get is Avengers 57, the iconic first appearance of Vision, the second appearance of Ultron. This is Roy Thomas' story with Big John Buscema artwork on this issue. I've owned this before, sold it to get into my X-Men 1, and pretty cool to grab this as a prize. It's a big, iconic Avengers key, and really happy to grab another copy of it. And thank you to Ozzy for such an awesome and incredible giveaway. Thank you very much, and happy to have it. Well, this sale wouldn't be complete without some really banger X-Men keys, which I also got. I got X-Men 141. This is, of course, the first issue in the Days of Future Past storyline. Chris Claremont, of course, and the legendary John Byrne and Terry Austin on the artwork. John Byrne is also a co-writer on this issue as well. This is actually the first team appearance of the second Brotherhood of Mutant team, and is also the first appearance of some of those members, Destiny, Pyro, Avalanche. It's also the first appearance of Rachel Summers as well. So, big key, and it's minty. This is I do have this issue already, but I've been wanting to upgrade this. Again, my goal with my Uncanny X-Men run is to have it all in high grade, and so getting high grade keys from this run is a big priority to me, and being able to jump on this one was awesome. Love this book, and now to have it in pretty flawless condition, like this is super high grade. 9496, dare I say 98, maybe not a 98, but maybe, I don't know. It's minty, and I'm happy to have it. So cool to get this in high grade for my PC. Well, 141 should be followed by Uncanny X-Men 142, the second part of Days of Future Past. Again, Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Terry Austin are the creators, and this is, the second installment in that 2-book story. Might be, this and I guess the Dark Phoenix saga are the most iconic X-Men stories I think ever, and to have now both 141 and 142 in high grade. This one's a little lower grade than the 141. It's got a couple visible ticks, but it is still high grade. It's beautiful, and once again, just so stoked to have another copy and a high grade copy of this awesome book. Iconic cover, one of the best covers in X-Men history as well. So love this book, love to add it to the PC, and looking forward to continuing to upgrade all the great issues in my X-Men run. Well, would you look at this? I'm already doing it again. Upgrading another Uncanny X-Men issue. This is a book that I stayed away from for the last year and a half, because people were going crazy for the first appearance of the Dazzler. Uncanny X-Men 130. This book got stupid. Just stupid with the speculation that Taylor Swift was going to be the Dazzler in Deadpool and Wolverine this past summer. Of course, that did not happen. Like most of us sane people thought would be the case. And, this book has now come back down to Earth. I don't even know if it's fully back down to Earth, but because it went so far away from Earth that it's going to take a long time for it to be back on Earth. But I will say it is definitely back in the more affordable world, and this was under FMV. Happy to get this copy. This is, of course, like I said, the first appearance of Dazzler, but it's also the first full appearance of Sebastian Shaw and the second appearance of Emma Frost and Kitty Pryde. So this is a big, big book outside of even Dazzler, and just really happy to get an upgrade on it. It's high grade once again, and yeah, this my Uncanny run is getting better and better with every upgrade, and happy to have this 130 finally upgraded in my PC, because I've been waiting. I've been waiting patiently. Here we go. Okay, so in my recent 2025 comic outlook and goals video, I talked about how I wasn't setting distinct, detailed, exact goals for this year. I definitely have, obviously, like hopes and wishes, as I mentioned. I do have kind of books I got my eye out for. This is one of them, but I talked in that video about how I didn't think I could complete my 1 to 300 X-Men run this year. I'm starting to think that I didn't think about that long enough, because I am starting to come around to the thought that I could finish this off. Especially since I got one of the big boys out of the way so early in the year, and it's this book. It's X-Men number 9. This is one of the 4 books in the first 10 of Uncanny X-Men, or X-Men before it was even Uncanny, of the X-Men books that I needed. And this is, of course, the first meeting and battle of the X-Men and the Avengers, the first time the Avengers cross into the X-Men title. I've always loved this book, and I've always wanted it. I don't know if you've watched a lot of my stuff. I've mentioned this book, or I've referenced this book in videos and little jokes and stuff. Even my goal video from for 2024, I made a little joke in there about a well-priced X-Men 9. But it hasn't presented itself until my man Kamikaze had his 10K sale on Whatnot, and he posted all the books, or a lot of the books that he was going to have for sale in that show, and this was the one that caught my eye. This is the one that made me want to tune in. And then I tuned in, and I got this book. This was the first book I bought from the sale. And then it went all downhill from there, and I bought a bunch more because it was such a great sale and it was such great deals. But this was the trendsetter. This is the tone setter for that sale, for that buying spree. And I'm so excited to have X-Men 9. Now I'm 7 books away. 7 books away from completing 1 to 300. Will I do it in 2025? I'm starting to think I might. Okay, so I did also get a few slabs from Kamikaze. One was in the sale and one was after the sale. This first one was in the sale, and that was Captain America 100 in a 7.5. And this 7.5 is significant to me because already for a few years I had decided I'm going to go after and collect all the big premiere issues. The big premiere issues are a run of books that all came out within the same amount, around the same year, a few months, that kick-started basically like new titles and new runs of the classic Marvel characters. Submariner, got a #1 issue and its own run. Because originally, before that, he was in Tales to Astonish with the Hulk. The Hulk continued on in Tales to Astonish, but under the title The Incredible Hulk. So The Incredible Hulk started at the same number the Tales to Astonish was. Submariner started its own run at #1. Same thing happened with Iron Man and Captain America. They were sharing Tales of Suspense. Cap started off at 100. Iron Man got its own run at #1. So anyways, all these big premiere issues came out roughly at the same time. They all feature this sort of seal or ribbon or whatever, starburst that says big premiere issue on them. And so I wanted to collect all the big premiere issues. My Submariner 1 came back a 7.5 after I got it graded, and I really liked that grade. And it's not too high, knowing that I'm, as a Silver Age collector, I'm really not. I don't really have a snobby perspective on Silver Age grades. It's kind of any grade is better than no grade for me when it comes to Silver Age. But with these big premiere issues, they're not first appearances. They're not the monster keys in the Silver Age, and they're also sort of later Silver Age. They're right at the tail end of the Silver Age before all these titles entered the Bronze Age. So they're more affordable overall. I mean, there's some big ones in there that are more expensive, but for the most part, these big premiere issues are pretty affordable. So 7.5 was like a really great grade, and I thought it would be a really cool thing to try and get all the big premiere issues in a 7.5. So that became my goal. So I got out of some of those books, and I decided eventually I'm going to get into 7.5s on all the big premiere issues. So, but it's kind of a loose goal that can happen whenever. I didn't have it specifically targeted for this year or anything. But again, my mantra for this year is let the comics come to me. And this one came to me in that sale. It was a 7.5. I had to jump on it. The price was right, under FMV. In the grade, I don't have to grade it myself. It's a 7.5. That's the nice thing. And I'd like to buy them already graded because it's just easier. If I have to grade them myself and they come back not a 7.5, do I have to regrade them? Do I have to sell them and just keep looking? It's a lot easier to just get them graded already. Luckily, this was in the sale. It's in my grade. Had to jump on it. So excited to have a Cap 100, especially after selling the one I had previously, which I did really love. Nice to have this back in the PC, and now this one is locked in. I'm keeping this one. It's part of the 7.5 run of the big premiere issues, and just shout out to Ozzy for giving me a great deal on it, and pumped to have it. Alright, so this last one, like I said, bought one on the sale and then one after the sale, because in the sale, Ozzy said, hey, if you see something you liked in this sale and you want to maybe negotiate a little bit more, or you have second thoughts, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I've been in contact with Ozzy many a times on IG, so no problem for me to reach out to him. And he had this book in the sale. It didn't sell, and I was thinking about it, and I reached out to him about it, made him an offer, kind of went back and forth a little bit, not very long, because he countered with a great deal, and it was Secret Wars 8 in a 9.8. A big boy grade on this awesome Black Spidey origin story. What I've always... Now, I gotta admit, this book, it's not been like a big book high on my radar, like, oh, I need to get that book. But this book, what I really like about this book is that this one, as well as ASM 252, are very desirable books. You see them all the time because people love these books, and they're always easy to sell. They're always easy to move, and I am a big Venom fan, but I prefer the books with Venom in them as opposed to the black suit. So I thought, if I could get into this book in a 9.8, it's awesome. Now I have a 9.8 of this book, but it also becomes a really interesting book in my collection that I'm not like insanely attached to, and could potentially become something I could trade for something I really want down the line. Sometimes, and it's not something that I've done a lot of, but it's something I'm thinking about doing more, is just buying certain books that you know have a lot of desirability that could potentially become trade chips. If you could get a really great deal, but it's not necessarily a book that you're like enamored with or in love with or have to have, it still might be a really good opportunity to get it. And I'm not saying that I don't like this book. I do, and I would love one day, maybe even this one, to have a 9.8 in my collection long term. Like, maybe this will be in my collection long term. I don't know. I'm happy to have it. I love it. But it is one of those books where I could feel like, you know what, I could give that up in a trade and get another one down the line. So I'm happy to have this Secret Wars number 8. It's a really a great book, great cover. It's great. But again, maybe this becomes something I can trade in the future. We will see. Until then, it's going to have a nice place on my wall. I'm going to enjoy it thoroughly. So thank you to Ozzy for hooking me up with a great deal on this book. And I'm going to enjoy it for now. So that is my big, mega payload of comic books that was delivered to my collection just recently. Shout out to Comic Ozzy. Shout out to Dave from West Coast Avengers. Shout out to the guy I bought those books from at the local con. You know, I gotta say, this was like an old school throwback haul video from my channel, an old school Colossus haul where I just went bonkers and bought awesome books, and I gotta say, it felt amazing. I loved every minute of those sales, of buying those books. God, I just wish I could hit the lottery, you know? But alas, can't always do that, but it is nice to get a little retail therapy in every once in a while and, you know, just treat yourself. So I was excited to do that, and maybe I'll have to tighten my belt up a little bit for the next few months, but we'll see. I might have a couple other things still coming along en route, so it's not the end of things joining the collection, that's for sure. Anyways, I am so thankful for you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not already, maybe you'll consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that like button, and commenting down below. What did you think of this haul? Pretty good, huh? I don't know. Maybe let me know what you thought. Do you have any of these books? Are you on the lookout for a Secret Wars 8 and a 9.8? Maybe we could make a trade. I don't know. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel. And if you like this one, maybe you'll consider watching my recent X-Men haul, or maybe my most recent video here. And until the next time, keep collecting.